Hey there! Welcome to Understanding Common Core Math. This video series is designed for parents and teachers who are looking to better understand the Common Core and are looking to find ways to support kids in their development of math skills. The standard that we are going to talk about in this video is K.CC.C.6. This standard is about comparing numbers. Now, you might remember from your math experiences the phrases greater than, or less than, or perhaps even the symbols that go with them. This is something that we'll be addressing in this video. To start with, we will look to help your kids develop their sense of which numbers are bigger or smaller using objects or visuals. And to keep things as simple as possible, we will limit the size of the numbers to 10 or fewer. Let's start with an example. Suppose that you have some pens and pencils. We want to figure out if there are more pens or more pencils, or possibly an equal number of pens and pencils. Let's start organizing them by matching up one pen and one pencil at a time. Here we go. Here's one pen and here's one pencil. Here's another pen and another pencil. Here's a third pen and a third pencil, and so on. We keep matching them up. One pen and one pencil, one pen and one pencil, one pen and one pencil. When we get to the end, though, notice that there is one pen left over. This is important because we can now compare how many pens and pencils are present. The important question to ask your child at this point deals with which group has more objects. In other words, are there more pens or are there more pencils? In this case, there are more pens. In other words, the number of pens is greater than the number of pencils. It is okay to start modeling some of the terminology that we use in mathematics, in this instance, greater than. Encourage your child to practice using the terminology as well, but note that the use of the fancy terminology will grow with time. In this situation, you can also ask the opposite question. Are there fewer pens or are there fewer pencils? Well, there are fewer pencils. In other words, the number of pencils is less than the number of pens. At this point, we have met what the standard is asking students to be able to do. But let's continue to reinforce the counting ideas that we have been working on. Once your child has answered the questions about how many pens are present, ask him or her to count up the number of pens and pencils. In this situation, there are 7 pens and there are 6 pencils. Help your child make the connection that since there are more pens, the number 7 must be greater than the number 6. Or vice versa, the number 6 must be less than the number 7. Use those phrases when comparing the numbers. 7 is greater than 6, or 6 is less than 7. Believe it or not, this example involves a high level of cognition, and your child is developing a strong number sense by being able to compare the numbers in this way. Let's try another example. Let's determine if there are more green rectangles or red rectangles. Match them up to start with. One green rectangle and one red rectangle. One green and one red, one green and one red. At this point, we are out of green rectangles and there are still 2 red rectangles left. Ask your child if there are fewer green rectangles or fewer red rectangles. There are fewer green rectangles than red rectangles. Have your child state what is observed, something like, the number of green rectangles is less than the number of red rectangles. Next, count up the number of rectangles. There are 3 green rectangles and 5 red rectangles. This means that the number 3 is less than the number 5. Or vice versa, the number 5 is greater than the number 3. As a final example, let's look at what happens when there are equal numbers. In this example, let's match up the pennies and the nickels shown. 1 penny and 1 nickel. 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 At this point, all of the pennies and nickels are paired up, and there are no coins left over. This means that the number of pennies and the number of nickels are equal. Count up the number of each coin. There are 4 pennies, and there are 4 nickels. Therefore, the number 4 is equal to the number 4. Although it may seem like a well-duh kind of statement, encourage your child to say that 4 equals 4. This actually helps in developing more advanced algebraic thinking. As you work with your child on this standard, be sure to focus on determining whether or not one group of objects is greater than, less than, or equal to the other group of objects. Use the matching strategy illustrated in the examples from this video to help your child develop a sense of how the number of objects compare. And be sure to include examples that involve more objects, less objects, and an equal number of objects. Although it is not required at this point, it is important to encourage your child to start using the correct terminology. So if you can get your kid to use phrases like greater than and less than, that would be fantastic. I hope that you found this video helpful in better understanding the meaning of standard K.CC.C.6. Best of luck as you work with your child on counting and comparing numbers. Please take a minute to subscribe to this channel and be sure to check out the other videos in this series. Thanks for watching.